Lamplight presents The Bomb Girls by Daisy Stiles, narrated by Anne Dover. Chapter 1. Emily. The sun, shining through the canteen window, illuminated the cloud of flour that Emily had created as she pounded the pastry for her lunchtime meat pies. Blowing stray auburn curls out of her eyes, Emily smiled to herself. Butter might be rationed, but there was more than one way to skin a cat when it came to culinary ingenuity. She'd been collecting wartime cookery tips from various magazines and newspapers, discovering alternatives to the real things, like cheese, eggs, and milk, that were as rare as hen's teeth these days. Because pastry and pies were big on her canteen menu, and cheap too, she couldn't keep knocking out tasteless flour and water-based pastry tops for the poor sods working 10-hour shifts in the cotton sheds. She knew better than most that mill workers needed something to get their teeth into at dinner-time. Emily herself had worked at the looms before she got her lucky break in the canteen. She'd always hated mill work, which was seen as her destiny, along with that of every other female in the small Lancashire town of Pendle. She hated the grease and the fluff, the cotton fibres that went everywhere, up your nose, in your hair, and clogged your lungs. "I want to run a canteen," she told her mother. "I want to cook food, be a chef." Mrs. Yates shook her head in despair. How did she and her even-tempered, steady husband ever manage to produce a firecracker like their Emily? What with her blazing hair, wide sky-blue eyes, and generous mouth, she didn't even resemble her parents. Her spirit and laughter, her exuberance for life and her energy were boundless. Nothing and nobody ever got in Emily's way. When she started walking out with Bill Redmond, Mrs. Yates breathed a sigh of relief. Bill was a lovely boy, the good-looking eldest son of a nice, respectable family, and she'd known him since the day he was born. Bill would soon calm Emily down, Mrs. Yates thought. Not so. Love and romance sent Emily into overdrive. Kissing and cuddling, whispering sweet nothings to Bill up on the moonlit moors, made Emily realize there was even more to life than she'd previously thought. With the coming of the war, Emily's major concerns were for her 20-year-old sweetheart, who, handsome in his soldier's uniform, had left Pendle to fight in northern France with the Lancashire Fusiliers. With the exodus of hundreds of local men...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?